Hey everybody, welcome to the NZ Travel Show. Today we're going to be talking about everything to do with traveling, holidaying, enjoying New Zealand for leisure and pleasure. Because we are the team behind New Zealand's largest travel guide and therefore we are the expert. Laura, tell the good people in the screen right now who we are.
So this is Robin and I'm Laura and we're the team behind NZPocketGuide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide because it literally has thousands and thousands of articles to help you plan the perfect trip to New Zealand. Now that you are able to come to New Zealand, or most people are able to come to New Zealand if you are from a visa waiver country. So now is the perfect time to plan your trip to New Zealand. Now that you can finally get here. So happy about that. But if you're not really into reading, which is kind of what the website's all about, well, you can come to our New Zealand travel show that we do every single Sunday at 8 a.m. New Zealand time. There's handy links in the description below for what time that is in your chosen time zone. And you can also click on subscribe and click the notification bell for when we are going live in our next sessions. So pop onto the live chat. This is what it's all about, and you can ask your questions directly to us. That way, you don't have to do any reading.
Yes, easy busy. So yeah, can you guys hear us and everything like that? I've made a couple of changes, so I'm not sure if all the audio and everything is good, but if everybody can tell us, that'd be great. In the meantime, we're starting this morning with Violet Zulu all the way from South Africa saying good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing, Violet? We also have Nathan Baith. What is he saying?
Nathan says, Morena from chilly and foggy Taupo.
It is very foggy around Lake Taupo today, indeed. What is Extreme Talota saying?
Extreme Talota says, Morena. What does Morena mean, Robin?
Morena means good morning in Maori, which is the local indigenous language here in New Zealand. Anthony Comstock says his classic Morena from Rodeo, California, and he continues to talk about a Zoom call that we did with all our Patreon last Monday. We did something that we call the border opening party because, well, last Monday, literally, this is when the New Zealand borders reopened, and so therefore we had a bit of a party all together, but he had a bit of an issue. I don't know why you couldn't have sound, Anthony. Everybody else seems to have the sound, but did you get to watch the replay though? Yeah. Hopefully you got to watch the replay. But I'll talk about it a little bit more during the Patreon live session at the end. Speaking of Patreon, who else is here?
We also have Natasha here saying, hello everyone, with a nice smiley face.
I like it. How are you doing, Natasha?
We also have Rafaket Ali saying, good morning from Leeds, UK. I have spent quite a lot of time in Leeds. And we also have Adil Mullah saying, Kia ora, Robin and Laura. I would like to know if the new travel website has been completed. I think it's a website for the Cook Islands that Laura was working on. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Laura, are you done yet?
I'm not done yet. You may have, if you are searching for anything to do with the Cook Islands, you may accidentally not rewind.
Yeah, okay, so we are gonna launch in about 6 weeks, and then it's gonna be live. So yeah, about 6 weeks from now. So no, Laura is not done just
I'm
yet.
not done.
Yeah. Rafakat, what is he asking? Oh, is she asking? I don't know.
I want to visit Toriko. What do you think of Toriko? Toriko? Let me just Google Toriko quickly.
I don't know what Toriko is, but in the meantime, I'm going to chat to David Burrow, one of our lovely Patreon, that says, Kia ora, bonjour and hello. Bonjour, David. How are you doing today? So if you guys don't know, I keep on talking about Patreon this morning just because it looks like everybody is showing up right now. So Patreon is a great way to support us in making those videos for free for everybody all the time, and also on creating New Zealand's largest travel guide. On top of that, you will score yourself some really epic perks in supporting us to do this travel guide. You'll be able to get yourself access to some PDF guides that are really handy, just some hidden gems and everything, and which we have not published anywhere else. You'll be able to get an access to an extra 1 hour live session every single week. We also do some parties like this border opening parties I was talking about. We play some games. We have a secret Facebook group where we can all hang out together. It's really awesome, and you join a bunch of 13 awesome people. We seem to be stuck at this number 13, which is kind of a curse, obviously.
Yeah,
it's 13.
Unlucky number.
And so we have Beverly, Tamo, Fabio and Clay, which are the producer level, and also we have Anthony, Joey, David, Jaro, Natasha, Oriol, Sander, Hidden Hammer, Christina, Kat and pistachio. So yeah, a bunch of really awesome people to hang out. So consider joining us on Patreon. There is a link in the description below. Now, Laura, did you find out about Torrico?
I think it might be a spelling mistake. Raffaquette. So
never heard of it myself.
Yeah, I've never heard of it, and I'm not getting any results when I'm looking for it on Google, other than something to do with Mitsubishi cars.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe just re-look at the spelling of that, and maybe we can figure out where
I
exactly
don't know anything.
mean.
Torino, the ski field, maybe?
Tucino is a ski field, but it's like it's a little bit off with the spelling. I'm not really sure what that could be.
Are you talking about the ski field? Tell us.
Just tell us what you mean, Raffaquette.
Okay, Raffaquette is asking you, which area did you live in Leeds?
Central, not really live permanently, but spent a lot of time in central Leeds during my youth.
All right, KD is saying, can we open a bank account without having PR or any kind of visa, i.e. foreigner? No, you will need to have a visa in order to be able to open a bank account in New Zealand, especially a working visa. But you are able, if you have a working holiday visa, which is kind of a backpacker style visa, you are able to open a bank account. But just as a tourist in New Zealand, it will be a struggle for you to be able to open a bank account in New Zealand, as they're tightening their grip a lot on money laundering, and therefore there is a lot of hoops to jump through. But we do cover opening a bank account in New Zealand on this channel. There is a video in the description. There is a video on the channel that you can search. Just type bank account and then NZ Pocket Guide, and you can also head to nzpocketguide.com. Then you click on work in New Zealand, and then you click on job tips, and in there is a full article on how to open a bank account in New Zealand. It should make your life super easy. What is Kiwi Lauren saying?
Kiwi Lauren says, I voted for butter chicken pie, even though I've never tried it. I just can't imagine it being bad, honestly. I love that this debate has spanned for weeks now.
Nonsense. My fish pie is the best. All right, so Kiwi Lauren is talking about the question of the day. So let's go with the little logo. Or jingle, or sting. Question of the day. Woo! Question of the day. Woo! Question of the day.
You do realise there's already a jingle going on. You don't need an additional jingle.
I make my own jingle. All right, Laura, what is the question of the day? It's our finally.
It's the finale, yes, the final winner. What is the best pie? Is it butter chicken, mince pie, chicken and mushroom, or steak and cheese? So we've been doing this quiz now, this poll, for a few weeks, whittling it down to the 4 most popular pie flavours that you can pick up, usually in gas stations or bakeries as you're travelling around New Zealand. And these have been the 4 that have been voted the highest in each of their tier, and now it's the final showdown. Let's find out what is the favourite pie of New Zealand for you guys coming to New Zealand or have already travelled in New Zealand.
All right, so while you guys are voting, Adil Mullah has a lot of questions. There are 3 of them in a row, so let's get started. So Laura, Adil asks, I have a few questions regarding the Transalpine train's journey. 1, is it still in operation?
I believe the Transalpine is still in
operation. Only scenic railway which is currently operating in New Zealand. The other ones are probably going to reopen, right? It's highly unlikely that they're going to all close for good. But yeah, the Transalpine right now is still operating, albeit at a little bit of a reduced schedule. 2, is the Transalpine train wheelchair accessible?
I think it is. I mean, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
It is. The staff will help you.
Public transport. So typically, a lot of public transport in New Zealand has wheelchair access. And if you obviously when you're checking in or booking in for your for getting onto the train, there's usually, the staff can help you go through all the procedures for wheelchair access for getting on board.
And 3, are there any wheelchair accessible public bathroom, washroom, restrooms, lavatories on board the train?
Can you remember?
Well, if it's accessible, in the train, I will highly suspect that yes, there is public bathroom available.
I highly suspect as well.
So I'm not 100% sure, but I'd say I'll be like 90% sure that there is. But you're more than welcome to contact Kiwi Rail, which is the company that operates the Transalpine. They'll be able to guide you on that. Now, there is a little bit of a follow-up questions right here by Adil, saying which term is used in New Zealand. Therefore, he used all the terms that came to mind. So what is the term in New Zealand? Is it bathroom, washroom, restroom, lavatories? What's the term to say that?
More more commonly, people say bathroom in New Zealand, don't they? Or toilets.
Yeah.
Or just the, toilets. So, I mean, lavatories is maybe a little bit too posh. Washrooms isn't really used in New Zealand.
Maybe. Nah.
Restrooms, kind of.
I think it would be bathroom, toilet, restroom. That'd be like kind of like
Yeah.
the top 3 ways to ask where's the bug in New Zealand.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. Yeah.
Where's the bug? Katie says, you guys look cool and relaxing. If I'm fortunate enough, I will also move to New Zealand.
Cool. Well, it'll make you a
relaxed.
cool and relaxed person like us if you do, so.
It's the country that makes me relaxed.
Yeah.
What is Nathan Baith having to say?
Nathan says, what are some of the tips or ideas for things to do in Christchurch for a few days in the central city? Nathan, have you not figured out what you want to do in central Christchurch just yet? It seems
You're
like
still asking us. I love it. So
we will come up with some more stuff for you for sure. So.
You definitely are a nervous planner. So he wants to
Yeah.
be in Central Christchurch. So he doesn't want to be sent to Akaroa anymore.
No.
Like, just stop with that, Laura. What can you do in Central Christchurch? Do you want me to get started?
And we've already talked about, the Botanic Gardens.
Yeah.
We've talked about
Yeah.
the Canterbury Museum.
Yeah.
We've talked about the Riverside Market.
Yep.
All these things you don't seem to have latched onto. So let's think of some other
What about
stuff.
the Quake City?
Quake City, how about that? So that's
Yeah.
a different type of museum in central Christchurch, and this is going through the earthquakes that happened in 2010, 2011, and that was, the big earthquakes that happened in Christchurch, and there's a lot of stories, a lot of audio presentations, as well as some sort of artifacts taken from, I think they have like the steeple from the cathedral that broke, for instance, that sort of crumbled during the earthquake. So there's a few interesting stories and things to learn about if you go to Quake City. There is a fee to go there. It's about $20.
Okay, what about taking a double-decker bus around the city? That's something you can do right from the center, and it
Yeah.
basically does the activity for you.
So if you want to do a bit of sightseeing, you do actually have a couple of options, a couple of kind of unique options in New Zealand. You can do the double-decker bus tour, taking you around the city and outside to the suburbs as well. So you can get to see a little bit more. If you are, usually confined, maybe you don't have a car to explore the city, or you don't want to take the public buses and have to work out all that, then the double-decker bus is very easy to do, and we do have a video on this channel of us doing exactly that.
Yes. Okay. There is, if you're into photography, or if you do want to get into a city which is a street or a vibe which is very, very different. What about Regent Street in Christchurch?
Oh yeah, so Regent Street is a very, very picturesque street of Christchurch. That's definitely worth checking out. It's got, in terms of what's actually down there, it has a few restaurants and cafes, even like a video store thing there as well. So yeah, it's a really
Why
good
is there a
thing.
no store in 2022? I don't
Yeah.
know.
So it's a very picturesque looking street. Also, the Christchurch tram goes through there, so that was the other sightseeing option.
Time your photo well when you have the tram on Regent Street, and that just looks like a different era, I can tell you that.
But the other sightseeing option I was going to mention was that you can go on the tram, which is hop on, hop off, and it takes you around the city centre, mainly a very little bit out the suburbs, but it's mainly sticking to the city centre. So that's another way to enjoy some unique sightseeing.
May I suggest talking about the Antarctic Centre as well?
Yes, you will. Well, this is outside of Christchurch Central, but
It's
you
not
can.
too far. It'd be fun.
Yeah,
You'll
can-
be fun, Nathan.
You can take a public bus, and I'm pretty sure they do shuttles, probably from the iSite to the Antarctic Centre. The iSite is located right in the centre of Christchurch, and for those of you that don't know, iSites are the information centres in New Zealand. So if you go there and ask them about transport to the Antarctic Centre, they will give you the best directions to get there, and possibly be able to book you a shuttle there. And then once you get there, you can learn all about the Antarctic and Christchurch's connection with the Antarctic, because Christchurch is one of the sort of last places that you go for your final travels to the Antarctic, usually taking a plane over there from Christchurch Airport.
The last one place before the cold.
Yes.
All right, Nathan, I hope that has helped. I hope that now you will be done with planning your couple of days in Christchurch. But, feel free to keep on asking if you do have some...
we can definitely come up with some more ideas if needed.
Okay, so Christina says, Morena. Christina is one of our amazing Patreon subscribers. And she says, I hope everyone is doing well today. I'm doing fantastic. What about you, Laura? Splendid. Wow, I love it. Okay, what is Onzudu's having to say? Uzondu, sorry.
Uzondu Mark says, are there any black people in New Zealand and how friendly are the locals to blacks? Just wondering.
Well, obviously, we do have a lot of different ethnicities in New Zealand, but compared to... so I'm from the south of France, originally, many moons ago, and I've been in New Zealand for about 12 years. Obviously, in the south of France, there was a much larger community of black people in where I was living than it is here in New Zealand. But in New Zealand, we have different type of ethnicity, especially people from the Pacific Islands. Because New Zealand is so close from the Pacific Islands, we have a lot of Pacifica cultures that live in New Zealand. We obviously also have a lot of Maori culture in New Zealand as well. When it comes down to actually black people like you will find in the US and everywhere else in the world, I can't really recall having seen a lot. It's not something which you see really all the time. More, you will find that more this kind of culture around the main urban areas such as Auckland and Wellington and Christchurch, just because with more populations you usually get a wider spread of ethnicities there. But when it comes down to friendliness, New Zealand is known to be extremely welcoming. I mean, we welcome everyone. We're always happy with everybody. I'd rarely hear of issues with racism, but again, we're talking from like two as white as it gets people, so it's not something that we really encounter in an everyday life. Like we are as pale, like Laura pretty much blends with the wall, right? so it's as white as it gets here, but we haven't encountered any of that, and we have a really mixed race group of friends, and we don't see any issues with that.
I think I have to agree. Hopefully that is useful to you, Zondu Mark.
Kiwi Lauren
says, Nathan's Christchurch questions.
Wow, Christchurch questions.
I also hate typing the word Christchurch. There's way too many ch-ch-chs going on there. Yeah. Okay, Nathan's Christchurch questions remind me of the murals around the city. I don't think that they are there last time I was there, pre-quake. Are they close together so you could walk between them for photo ops?
Take the whole day walking around, but you wouldn't be able to take a photo with 3 of them on there, right?
No. So a lot of them are within the city centre. So just having a walk around, you'll probably notice quite a few just as you're walking around. And actually we have an article which is the free things to do in Christchurch, and I think one of the points on there is go check out the murals, and we do have a link to a handy little map which shows you some of the locations of the murals. Don't know how often that map is updated, but it already had quite a lot of murals on there, and there's always new ones cropping up all the time. So they're all pretty easy to spot as you are walking around the city centre, that's for sure.
All right, so somebody with a name which I'm going to guess is Indonesian. Tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely off track, or maybe Thai. So somebody with the name Indonesian or Thai, I'd say, or somewhere in Southeast Asia, says, what are the easiest part-time jobs which you can find around Auckland and Hamilton?
Well, there's quite
we have videos on both, actually. Interestingly,
quite a variety of jobs. I mean, you can go in terms of there's hospitality, there are things like, warehouse jobs, really outside of like in the Auckland region, you can even find picking jobs in vineyards and that sort of thing. So really there's quite a large scope for part-time jobs.
And a lot of retail jobs as well. Retail hospitality is going to be your main staples there. But do search Job Auckland or Job Christchurch and then NZ Pocket Guide right here on YouTube, and you'll find videos of us where we go through mostly like the student life, so like that we cover like accommodation jobs and all that, when arriving in New Zealand. You probably will find this video super useful. Also, if you don't mind commenting and telling me maybe with English letters what's your name, so therefore when I mention you, I can actually say this name, because I sadly cannot read the language of your current nickname. Christina Holden, what is she asking?
She says, we know we need to buy bug spray when we're there. Which ones do you recommend? Robin, you had mentioned a soap that works too, but it's not available there. What was that kind?
Wait, I've just found something new. Where is it? Where is this, those little sticks? Can you get it? Yes. Christina, I'm going to show you. I actually just finally got something which was really hard to find for a while, but I got it on Amazon. I will give you the link. I'll put it on the Patreon Facebook group, so like that you have it for you. But yeah, so this is what we use. Oh, it's green. It's green in the green screen. Wait, I need to. Oh well. So it's all green. So it's called Murphy's Natural. That's useless. You have that here, but that's fine. We can leave it there. the stuff is green, and we have a green screen. So if you see, it's gonna pass through the photos that we have in the background. So that's why I'm laughing. Anyway, so it's called Murphy's Natural. It is a mosquito repellent balm. So basically, it's like a stick that you oh wait, maybe that wouldn't work. Okay.
Should I go get the other stick, the white one?
Yeah, if you do have it. Anyway, so it's a stick, and you just rub that on your skin, and it works very well. It avoids being a spray, which is always a pain for airplane as well, for the planet and all that. So it is absolutely fantastic. So we've been using that, and we use that around the South Pacific, and they work very well. So so yeah, I will strongly recommend those things. Because
well, this has a bit of green on it.
Oh, this was green as well. This is nonsense. They all have some green anyway. So those are the kind of spray not spray, but those kind of balm that we use.
Yeah.
And you just rub it on your skin. It doesn't smell bad, which I like. It doesn't feel like too sticky or anything. It's just great. That's the thing that we use a lot, and we use that when traveling around the South Pacific when the mosquitoes are really crazy, like 10 times more than the crazy sandflies you get here in New Zealand. So
yeah,
I will suggest those. I'll give you the link in the secret Patreon Facebook group as well.
Yeah.
All right, that was a show and tell today. I like it.
Just a few extra things about like why we prefer those balms compared to sprays. Sprays tend to not last as long. Balms have a longer life. Also, they're easier to carry and stuff. That white one that we showed you is available in New Zealand in some pharmacies. We did buy them in a pharmacy.
Yeah, we can't find them anymore.
We can't find it anymore, but it's something that we did get in New Zealand at a sort of national pharmacy.
Another thing, they are DET free as well. So DEET free. Those acronyms. Anyway, so that's much better for you and things like that.
And if you check out on nzpocketguide.com, actually that has quite a few different links to different products that we like for insect repellent. We do have an article on the ways to prevent sandfly bites in New Zealand, and I think we do have an insect repellent article.
I will show it on screen right now. Attention, mesdames et messieurs. Here we go. Robin's here. Oh, why is it not working? Here you go. It's going to be working. Here we go. Nice. So if you search just insect on NZ Pocket Guide right here, you have the best insect repellent for New Zealand right here. And you will have the whole article with some balms and everything like that, which works really, really well. So the spray, the spray kind of, that works, right? But you really, really get little out of it. Like, they last about a week, right?
Yeah.
Well, those kind of stuff that we were showing before, they're really, really efficient, and they last for years. I mean, we had the white one for like 3 years. Mm-hmm. Mind you, there was COVID in between, but we still had it for 3 years.
But we have used them for the sandflies, like every evening in summer when you're sitting outside, you're playing games with your neighbours outside on the picnic table, and the sandflies come and start biting your ankles. We use that pretty much like every day in summer, and it was still lasting for about 3 years.
All right, cool. What do we have? Kim Lauren, can you say hi to Reed? Hi, Reed. How are you doing,
Reed.
mate? He says, we are listening while decorating a pair of new white shoes, coloring
like a shark's mouth.
Interesting, cool. Very cool. And he is amazed that you know people's names somehow. Well, we know everybody's name because we forces you guys to log in and actually put your name when you talk to us. I like it. Well, Reed, make sure that you make a cute shark, because I really do like sharks, and I think that sharks have a bad rap and people are always scared of it, and people are killing sharks, and that's not good.
Yeah.
All right. So Ashoka is saying, which city do you guys recommend for migrating family? Dunedin or Auckland? Dunedin for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Baby Burns is here and says, sup guys, back
Sup guys. Sup Baby Burns.
Sup Baby Burns. That's the beginning of your rap.
Yeah.
Sup Baby Burns. I mean, no. Okay, what is Michael Stewart saying?
Michael Stewart says, hello, sorry about the last time. I'll try to be more calm this time.
Ah, yes, we all going to be a nice, fun hanging out family. Nathan Bates, what is Nathan saying?
Nathan says, thanks for the options. I will let you know if I want if I want to know what else to do in Christchurch.
You definitely will want to.
Yeah.
So Ashoka was giving me here her name from Sri Lanka. And then what is it saying?
Don't worry guys, I will travel everywhere around New Zealand after I settle there. Family first.
Here you go,
Nice.
Make babies first and then travel. I suggest traveling first before the family is here. It's much easier to travel at one person. Okay, Christina, what's she saying?
Says, great, as I may order some for here since we get mosquitoes big time here. Thank you.
Yeah, no
You're
worries.
very
I'll give you the link for Amazon so that you can get it wherever you are.
Baby Burns says, what is the best frozen food product that you can heat up in campervans, microwaves, according to you guys? Frozen food!
So first tip, right? We just published a video with tips on campervan, right? I wouldn't have frozen food in a campervan because it's really hard to keep fruit frozen in a campervan. And usually the freezer that you have in a campervan is a tiny section of a fridge, and that is extremely unpractical. You're better off going for canned food, for example, or just a simple pasta dish and everything like that. So, same thing, I'm going to show you something on NZ Pocket Guide. So I'm going to go on the site for you right now, and you'll be able to see me finding these things. So, meals. So if I just type meal or meals on NZ Pocket Guide right here, so that's a website which is free right here. We have the best camping meals, including camping food list right here. So ready for you. Please don't burn your eyebrow like the guy was on camera right here. So we have our food, like the item that we think you should have in your campervan with you when you're traveling, as well as if you are hiking or camping, here's some food that you should have. And then we go for like very easy meal options for breakfast, lunch and dinner. And yeah, we give you some ideas right here. Plus, we do also have easy barbecue meal, ways to cook eggs because they're really easy, and some ingredients as well to have when you travel around New Zealand if you're planning on staying in hostels. So definitely you need to do some research because it does look like if you're planning on having frozen food in a campervan, you are not prepared just yet to actually do a campervan trip in New Zealand because, well, it will be quite a challenge to keep your frozen food right here. So I hope that it's going to help you. So again, it's nzpocketguide.com, and just on the search bar, just type meal and you'll be able to find all those articles to help you out, Ashoka. Okay.
That was Baby Burns.
That was Baby Burns. Baby Burns. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Baby Burns. Okay, that will help you out, Baby Burns.
Yeah.
Where are we at?
Have Robert Laliberte saying car rentals offer the option for windshield insurance. Sorry, windscreen insurance.
Cheeky.
Is it a common occurrence in New Zealand? Broken or chipped windshield? Yes, it is.
It is very much. There is a lot of gravels, right? And you get a lot of truck that pass really fast, and they are moving a lot of gravel toward the windshield. Now look at the price of the windshield insurance because it will cost you about $800 to replace a windshield or something like that. So look if the insurance is not going to be too much as well. We're not necessarily the biggest proponent of insurances, to be quite honest. It's not necessarily something that we are kind of really keen on. But is it a big thing in New Zealand? Chipped windshield? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And make sure that you do check all the windows of the car when you get a car rental in New Zealand, when you do the inspections, because quite often they are coming pre-chipped for you.
Yes. It would be good to jot that down and let the guys know, because if that chip turns into more of a crack, then they'll blame you, and you need to let them know that it's actually they gave it to you that way.
Ashoka says, still, I'm the eldest son of my family. I don't want to have kids now. Still, I do what my mother asked me to do. Well, that's good that you're obedient.
Yes, live life first in New Zealand, and then do what your mother asks you to do.
Yeah.
That's a good,
live
good
life
order
first
of
in New
things.
Zealand. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's Nathan saying?
Nathan says, I think you should do more videos like how to use a campervan and tips for campervan. Oh, well, guess what? We have just recently, haven't we?
Well, it's published this week. Did you not see it? Or are you saying you want more of those videos?
More of those,
I'm
yeah.
unsure. Because we did one Litty on Thursday. And
He said those
live.
those videos did help with planning for my South Island trip.
So Nathan is referring to a couple of videos that we have. So we have a tour of a classic kind of Kiwi campervan, just so you know what to expect when traveling in New Zealand. And we also have a kind of 10 tips for traveling in the campervan in New Zealand, just like things that you should be knowing along the way. So yeah. There you go.
Do we have any more campervan related? We do still have quite a few campervan related articles on the channel.
Oh yeah.
I mean, some of them.
Videos, yeah.
Some of them we videos. Some of them we did do quite a few years ago, but the tips that we give on those videos are still relevant today.
Campervan haven't changed in multiple decades, so it hasn't changed just yet.
So yeah, take a look on our channel and search all our campervan videos, Nathan, and you will find that actually we do have quite a lot of content about campervan travel in New Zealand, which you should find helpful.
Clay's here.
He says hello with a wavy handshake emoji.
Well, the problem is that there has not been any border questions right now, so Clay's not having a good time right now.
Yeah, I imagine he's just like, hey.
Yeah, boring.
Yeah. So we have Akos Jordan saying, hi, Laura and Robin, which cities would you recommend for Australians who consider retiring in New Zealand? Thanks, Akos.
Well, if you want to retire, usually you are quite mindful of having really good healthcare available nearby, and so therefore I will not recommend Auckland. What? Well, just because Auckland does have some of the best healthcare facility, yes, but they are strained to the brink. They are stretched to the brink. Sorry, just because they are really under intense pressure and massive amount of population growth. So the facilities are not good enough, I mean, are not big enough for the amount of population over there. So I would actually suggest places such as Christchurch or Wellington, which actually probably will have better equipment. Also, the pace of life in both Christchurch and Wellington may be a little better. The cost of life, though, is going to be quite high in all those cities. So if you are not too stressed about healthcare and everything, I will consider retiring in some of the towns which are kind of smaller and more mellow, such as the town of Taupo, for example, which is right in the center of the North Island of New Zealand, where you'll be able to access most of the North Island, without ever having to deal with any traffic or anything like that. And it's definitely like a retiree kind of town. So that's kind of a vibe that you will be able to get. A lot of retirement home in New Zealand are actually based in Hamilton, just because it is only a short drive away from Auckland when there is no traffic, and therefore you can have lower cost of living as well as easy accessibility from there. If you are looking around the south end of New Zealand, a similar town to one I was talking about when it comes to Taupo will be the town of Wanaka. Same thing, lakeshore, easy peasy pace of life. But but again, we're here mostly to talk about traveling, so that's just my gut feeling as a 30-something, which is all about exploring New Zealand, right? I am nowhere near retirement, and I probably will die before my retirement age anyway, so who cares? Laura, do you want to add anything to that?
Not really, other than I hope you don't die before retirement.
It depends. When is retirement age? If it's 60, I'll be dead by then.
Oh, it keeps changing every year, but it used to be
this highly likely will be eaten by a shark somewhere in the South Pacific before that. I'm not too worried about it.
Okay.
I want to leave a sexy body. I want people to be able to kind of
look in your casket and be like,
damn that fine boy. He was gone too soon, that fine boy. Mwah.
Life goals, I guess.
Yes. What is Nathan saying?
We have Nathan saying, who he already read that one that the videos did help with his South Island trip.
Ooh, Kat, one of our newest Patreon.
Yeah, Kat says, Hi Laura and Robin, we have Hobbiton on the schedule. Is there anywhere nearby for freedom camping with a campervan? It will be late evening for us since we're doing the dinner banquet.
Ooh, yeah.
That is a tricky one because we too were travelling in a motorhome when we went to do the evening dinner tour at Hobbiton, and we actually drove all the way back to Hamilton after that for accommodation.
Yeah, but I will suggest there is a holiday park in Matamata.
Yes.
So I will suggest not doing freedom camping, but actually booking yourself in a holiday park in Matamata.
And book that very far in advance, because the accommodation in Matamata, which is the closest town to Hobbiton, that gets booked up really quickly because Hobbiton is a big item on the agenda for most people. So book your accommodation in Matamata as soon as you can, just to make sure that it isn't fully booked. By the time
I'll give you a link if you want in the Facebook group, Kat. So I'll give you the link. So I'll give you the link so like that you know which one we're talking about. But that's what I will do as well. That's what I would suggest, just because it's such it will be a long drive. Like then you have to drive to like Rotorua or Waitomo or wherever your next spot is, and it's a bit too long. So I'll just go back to Matamata.
And in terms of freedom camping, if you head on to nzpocketguide.com, we do have a guide of freedom camping rules region by region, and this gives links to all the regions around New Zealand, which tells you basically what their freedom camping laws are, because yes, freedom camping laws across New Zealand are all different depending on where you're staying. So if you do really want to do freedom camping and your heart is set on doing that, then just check out what the regional information on the council website is for Matamata. So that will be in Waikato, but just make sure it covers under Matamata. But the links for that can be found on nzpocketguide.com under freedom camping rules region by region.
There's an emergency for Clay right now.
Okay.
He's out of bacon for Sunday breakfast, so he's going to the shop quickly and he'll come back during the Patreon live session. Emergency. I know we'll get back up on the live chat. Just had to mention the emergency right here. Obviously.
So this is a real insight into the New Zealander lifestyle right here. It's like if you don't get your Sunday bacon, then it is an emergency, and you do have to rush out.
So if you guys don't know, Clay is one of our Patreon subscribers. He's actually he's a Kiwi from Dunedin. He's been hanging out with us for like years now. It's good fun. Okay, so I hope that's helpful for you, Kat. Sadly, the easiest way would be to do that, and also don't do like we did for the evening banquet, which is driving a lot afterwards. You're going to be full. You're going to be bloated. You're not going to enjoy the drive.
Not a fun drive.
No, it's not a fun drive. I can tell you that. Like, you're going to be way too full. You better eat as much as I did and eat way too much. So, that would be my suggestion. But, we'll look at that together. Where are we on after that? We
have Christine. Oh, no. We have,
Clay.
Clay about Mother's Day.
He's making Mother's Day breakfast.
About to make Mother's Day breakfast from the kids. Some border questions would be good right about now.
So it's Mother's Day here in New Zealand. So happy Mother's Day to all the mamas.
To all your mamas out there.
Akosha says suggestion.
Can you guys start a Migrate Guide New Zealand or a video series for international students and workers? You guys just already have a subscriber and a viewer.
Well, if you actually go on NZ Pocket Guide, and yes, I've been mentioning it a million times, but let's have a look at that. If you go on NZ Pocket Guide right here, what's this article you updated today? 20 what?
Updates. Tips for moving to 20 essential must-dos for moving to New Zealand.
So you tap 20 moving to New Zealand, for example. You just type that, and actually on the site right here, we do have tips for you if you're planning on moving to New Zealand. And 20 essential must-dos before moving to New Zealand. So, for example, that helps you get yourself prepared before coming to New Zealand. There's 20 tips right here for you. So, here you go. The content is available. It just requires a little bit of reading. But that also means that you can go through it at your own pace rather than us speaking super, super fast. So, here you go. That should be helpful.
Yeah.
Where are we at?
Christina says, Clay, you could drink every time they mention NZ Pocket Guide.
I've been doing it a lot today. I just feel like it came organically, but I'm not sure that it maybe sometimes too much. You guys should tell me to rein it in.
Cool it down on the NZ Pocket Guide, guys. Speaking
of cooling it down, before I'm reading the next question from Robert, remember there is the question of the day. Question of the day. Woo! question of the day. Yeah, it's a question of the day. Wow. What's the question of the day, Laura, today?
The question of the day is our grand finale of what is the best pie. So there's their savoury pies that you pick up in any gas station or bakery in New Zealand. And we have whittled it down over a few weeks in different tiers to the final four, which are butter chicken, mince pie, chicken and mushroom, and steak and cheese.
All right, make sure you're voting. So far, steak and cheese is winning. And if your favorite is not steak and cheese, make sure you vote.
Yes.
All right, what is Robert Laliberty having to say?
Robert says, here's a question for Clay, now that Clay has popped out for bacon.
He's gone at bacon shop.
I find the building murals in Dunedin intriguing. Are they worth touring? And if so, how much time should I allow to get a good sense of them? Well, actually, Robert Laliberte, there are walking art tours of New Zealand, if you didn't already know that. Not New Zealand, of Dunedin, if you didn't already know that. So there are people that are taking, groups around the city centre and, actually telling more about the stories about each of the murals.
It takes 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, so look that up if you head over there and just ask at the iSite when those next tours are available, because obviously they're not going on every day, but just ask about those for the next tour. That might be a thing that might interest you.
And Clay is still around, so he's answering and says, Robert, I haven't actually dedicated time to see them all in one hit. As living here, we see them a lot. They are well spread out, though, so if I was to guess, allow a day on foot. Yeah, it would be about a day on foot. I mean, we actually do walk around. We have a video of us walking around Dunedin and checking out some of the buildings and churches as well on the channel. But if you were to take one of those tours at 2 to 3 hours, they would drive you from one spot to another. No, it's pretty cool. It has a Scottish heritage, if I'm correct. Is that Dunedin? Is there a Dunedin in Scotland as well?
It sounds like there should be, but I'm actually not 100% sure.
That's funny. All right, what is Kat saying?
He says, Happy Mother's Day to all the mamas.
I just said that. What is Nathan saying? Yeah.
Nathan says, quick question. Is it better to film my experience for the whole trip down to Christchurch? Is there more to that or just that? Quick question. Is it better to film my experience for the whole trip down to Christchurch?
Hey, if you film your experience on the way, all the way down to Christchurch, if you want to film yourself traveling, you can send it to us, and if it's good, we'll post it. We always look for contributors. It's always fun. So yeah.
It's up to you, Nathan. If you would find that fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of amazing things to film around New Zealand. We obviously maybe are a little biased because that's exactly what we've done.
But filming is a lot of work, though, so you've got to know that. Yeah,
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of data, obviously, as well. You need somewhere to store everything that you're filming as well. So there's a few setups and stuff that you'll need to be aware of, and you might end up traveling with maybe an extra hard drive or something. But depends how much you film. Depends if you're into it or not. But from our perspective, we quite enjoy it.
Yeah. What is Rafakat asking?
Rafakat says, what is the inflation like in New Zealand? I heard it's getting pretty expensive in New Zealand.
It is damn expensive in New Zealand. I think we had 18% on like the fruit and vegetables and everything like that. So like those kind of fresh food is like through the roof, mate. Gas actually has been kind of weathered out a little bit, just because what the New Zealand government has done is that they removed all the New Zealand taxes that the government taxes that was on gas. So like that, it's all pure profit for those evil corporation petroleum companies, which is great, but it's a little cheaper for us. Evil. Aside from that, inflation is quite high in New Zealand. I think we were 6 or 7%. Everything is getting significantly more expensive. We do see it at the till when we go do grocery shopping. It is actually more expensive than the usual. I'd say we added at least $50 to our normal shopping, which is kind of high. Definitely it is. We see it as well, obviously, in the travel realm. Our operators have to pass on the cost. Flight, ferry, all that is significantly more expensive because of the increase in price of gas and all that. So how's the inflation in New Zealand? Well, pretty painful, pretty harmful. The consumer's not enjoying it, but what you gonna do? Not fun. Ooh, wow, literally we lost 12 viewers. That's more than half of who was watching as soon as I start talking about inflation.
Nobody wants to talk about inflation.
No, you're right, guys. Everything is cheap in New Zealand. Come back.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Anyway.
Well, Robert Laliberte says thanks for the advice.
Yeah, here you
Thanks,
go.
Robin.
You're very welcome, Robert. You're very welcome. Okay, so if you guys want to hit the like button, YouTube is telling me that not enough people are liking, so then people are leaving. I don't understand how that works, but yes, feel free to hit the like button. Now, so yeah, if you do have some more questions about traveling in New Zealand, go ahead. We're here for that. Other than that, we do actually have some awesome videos coming up in the channel this week. We continue to look back at New Zealand's biggest gap year, which should be quite interesting to you all, seeing some of the activities that we've done before, as well as some updates onto what is coming up with those activities, seeing they're still operating and all that. And what I do as well is that I look at questions that you guys had the first time we published it, and I actually go over those questions as well, just in order to update the videos quite well. Now, a lot of people may be interested in coming in New Zealand on a working holiday visa, and because it's quite popular, it's kind of a good way to kind of travel New Zealand kind of on the cheap. So we actually have 10 tips for you guys if you're coming on a working holiday visa, and that's coming to you guys on Thursday. So we recorded that video while hiking around the beautiful Tongariro National Park, and we decided to cover 10 tips that we think that you guys need to know when traveling in New Zealand, because, well, you know, especially on the working holiday visa, because you kind of have to start your whole life from scratch, right? You're coming to the country, you've got to find a job, find a place to live, open a bank account, get yourself a new cell phone. It's literally like starting life from scratch, like
get
almost
a tax number.
Yeah, get a tax number, do all those kind of things, which is kind of like a bit of a stressful and daunting thing. So we thought we kind of like condense it all in like 10 tips for you guys to help you out. So yeah, so make sure you keep an eye on this one, because I'm pretty excited about that video. I think it's going to be very, very useful.
Yeah.
All right, so what is Nathan saying?
We have Nathan saying, got to go, see you next week.
Ooh.
All right, Nathan. Hey, you didn't ask which our favourite places are in the South Island this
Yeah.
week, so make sure you bring that question to the next
Yeah, make sure you
live
bring
show.
that next week. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And we have Rafakat Ali saying, I want to do business in New Zealand. Any suggestions?
Yes, I mean, we do have a business in New Zealand, but this is pretty general, right? Like, you want to do business in New Zealand. Well, what industry would you like to specialize yourself into?
Yeah.
What skills are you bringing into the country that you can leverage in order to gain a competitive advantage over either existing company in New Zealand or competitors that may decide to copy what you're doing? You know, you've got to kind of look at where you're going to be placing yourself on the market every time you start a business, and yeah, how you're going to market yourself and all that. So you may want to start from scratch and actually start building a business plan from scratch. It may be easier. What is Robert having to say?
He's asking, are there any apps or apps that you would recommend adding to your iPhone? You may have answered this before. Please review. We do have an article on nzpocketguide.com, which are 10 apps.
Take a shot, Christina.
Yeah. That are, I think it's 10, the total is 10 apps. Robin can bring it up on screen. So yeah, 10 apps that we have used throughout our time traveling in New Zealand, although nowadays we don't really use that many apps, because we feel like we've created a travel guide that people can just use on their phones, that we kind of also use ourselves sometimes when we're trying to remember things and where to go and what to do. But yeah, Robin can just shout out the names of some of those apps on the article that we mentioned. Pocket, yes. So that's a good one for saving websites, you know, offline on your phone. So we've used that a few times, because obviously when you're traveling around New Zealand, although the coverage is pretty good in New Zealand, sometimes it's a little bit iffy, a little bit sketchy as you're going in and out of valleys, for instance. And yeah, any other apps there?
Yeah, so I would suggest actually getting yourself a proper GPS map, even if it costs you, about $1 to buy like a New Zealand map, something like Garmin or TomTom. It will be significantly better than Google Map. So I would definitely suggest this. If you're traveling on a campervan, there is CamperMate, which is always kind of handy. But yeah, one of the reasons why we like Pocket is because you can have access to all our website as well, offline. There is, if you're planning on doing some bike rides, there is the Great NZ Rides app. So it's Great Rides NZ that you'll be able to find. And so there is like literally so much information about every kind of like major kind of bike rides that you can do around the country. They do have a sister app, the Great Walker app as well, which is kind of cool. So yes, that's really nice. If you're into astrophotographies and astrology and everything, I do like Star Chart because the star skies is going to be the night sky is going to be significantly different than what you have in the northern hemisphere, so therefore to be able to get your bearings with that, it's kind of cool. If you are traveling with the campervan as well, there is the NZ Dock Finder, which is kind of good, which you'll be able to find all the campsites with the dock and everything. And obviously a weather app that you like. I like YR, the 2-letter YR. It's a Norwegian app, and they're really good with weather, and they're more accurate than others that I find. But the New Zealand weather is so changeable. It's hard to have anything accurate.
Hard to have a forecast for it.
Yeah. And definitely a weather app will be quite handy because you do need to know the conditions for some of the hike that you can be doing, such as Dongariro Alpine Crossing.
Absolutely. So there's a few apps that as I say, we've used them in the past over maybe a few years ago, but nowadays usually the information that we want is usually found online. So apps are kind of like a thing that we personally usually don't find as useful for traveling around New Zealand anymore. But
actually, there's another app that I would say. If you are currently on your iPhone using like the Safari browser or something like that, maybe you may want to consider downloading Opera, which is a browser, a web browser. That's the one I usually use. Every time we do like a Patreon live session, everything, they always see Opera. Actually, that's the one that I use when I show the website like that. Here you go. See, that's O for Opera right here. So the good thing with Opera is that it has an embedded VPN that you can activate, and so like that you don't have to pay for like those VPNs. You have to get premium stuff and everything, but that's kind of handy because that encrypts your information and everything. If you do need to check on your iPhone your bank details and all these kind of things, that may be quite handy to actually be able to encrypt your browsing when you travel around and you are unsure if the Wi-Fi networks are well secured or not. So that'd be an extra pro tip I'll give you.
Nice.
Here you go.
Very
that's
good,
an extra
Robin.
app. What is Christina saying?
I'm drinking tea. Does that count? As long as if there's a special something in that tea, then maybe. If
it's a Long Island iced tea that you consider as tea, then perhaps that works. But you know, clay only there's an amount of degrees of alcohol in any drink that you will have that it actually considers as available or okay for drinking games. So here you go. Wow, we're down to 8 viewers. Something is going wrong right here. Everybody's living. We were like at 24, and then we're down to 8 viewers. Nobody cares no more. There must be something big happening in the world, and people are like, no, I'm gonna switch to the news. What's going on? So another tip, if you are planning in New Zealand and you are looking to get yourself like some travel apps and everything, and that is like, do make sure that you have looked into roaming with your providers. So look at what roaming will cost you, if there are some roaming plans, and if it's not better for you to get yourself a New Zealand SIM card. There are some really good options to get New Zealand SIM cards, like a weekly plan or a monthly plan. That's you're not locked into anything, that you get bundles and that's it. There is no contract. No contract. You know, it's we're living more and more in a contractless world in New Zealand. I feel like everything is like, you can leave anytime, and so make sure you look into that because it can rack up quite a lot when it comes down to roaming. I don't know what Bell, or I don't know what the other company in Canada was. I used to be with Bell in Canada, and damn, they charge a lot. They definitely did charge a lot. What was the other one? Verizon? No, what's the red one?
Vodafone?
No, I don't know if it was Vodafone. I think it has a different name in Canada. I can't remember. Anyway, what is Anthony saying? It's a classic.
Anthony says his usual, stay safe, but I'm here till the end.
If we ever do some merch, I need to just put that on a t-shirt.
That would actually be hilarious.
There's like 3 people that will get the joke.
Yeah.
But that would make me laugh a lot. You do a t-shirt saying stay safe, but I'm here until the end. Anthony Comstock, Rodeo, California.
Yeah.
And boom.
That would be hilarious. I would buy it.
That would really.
I would wear it proudly for the live shows. You know, I actually do need to get some new gear for the live shows. You may have noticed, guys, but I'm always wearing the same top because we have this new green screen now, and all my other clothes have a slight tint of green or turquoise to them. So now I've been reduced to the plainest colours that I could find in my wardrobe. I think I need a white T-shirt with an Anthony Comstock quote on my. On my
you need
person.
something pink or something like that. You know, it's like it's not green,
something
basically.
The opposite of green.
Green, the pink, red, purple, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Roger is that's the red company I was thinking of. Thank you very much, Christina. So yeah, make sure you check your plans because we've heard a lot of complaints from people and saying, oh my gosh, you really need to remind people it really does cost a lot, blah blah. Like the bill when you come back, mate.
Yeah.
It can be quite. I mean, obviously, you do need to be
such a rookie
connected.
mistake to use roaming overseas. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of painful.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is coming up this week? Yeah. So we do have the live session coming up literally after this one for the Patreon only. So we're gonna spend an hour together. I think I've got a game. I'm not sure. And also we do have one of those short videos which I like to do on the Wednesday. So yeah, this week we're looking at somewhere in the Southland. What's Robert saying?
Robert says, it's quiet time, so I'll take advantage. What has been the highest part of New Zealand that you've been to? Indulge me. Altitude sickness generally occurs at altitudes of 8,000 feet and above. What's that in meters, Robin? Can you check that? And then he says, Aoraki Mount Cook tops out at 12,218 feet. When you were there, did you notice the effects? Well, we haven't actually been to the top of Mount Cook. Only sort of extreme mountaineers go up there, but we have...
2,438 meters is 8,000 feet.
Okay.
I'm just looking at exactly what's the height of where I've been, so you can talk.
Yeah. So, just first of all, when we went to Aoraki Mount Cook, we did take a scenic flight around the mountain, but we actually didn't go hiking up the mountain because you do have to be like a mountaineer, and it usually takes about 3 days of sort of training if you are inexperienced before they actually take you up there. So that's quite an undertaking that we haven't been able to do just yet. But yeah, so I think for me the highest place that I've been to is possibly the summit of Mount Ruapehu, which is in the North Island. It's the largest volcano in New Zealand, and
I'm finding the exact height for you.
Robin will find the exact height for you.
2,800 meters, basically.
2,800 meters. What is that in feet?
I am converting that right now. 9,176 feet.
Yeah. So I think that might be, unless the base of like Aoraki Mount Cook Village is higher. I'm not 100% sure if it is, but yeah. Mount Ruapehu summit at the Crater Lake. I think that's the highest I have possibly been on foot.
Okay, so for me, the highest I've been is actually when we landed on the ski plane on top of the Tasman Glacier. And the Tasman Glacier starts at 3,000 meters high above sea level, which is 9,800 feet above sea level. But we went to the top of it, and I cannot find information about where is the top of the Tasman Glacier. So I'm working through the Wikipedia page right now to find this information. But yeah, so that would be... that would be higher than that, obviously, but I don't know by how much.
Yeah, and to answer the question, did you notice the effects of altitude sickness? I definitely don't recall feeling any altitude sickness on any of the things.
Like sometimes I just have to do the ears, but it's really not.
Popping the ears, but nothing to make us feel like woozy or dreary or whatever. So it hasn't been. I think like in terms of how high you can go in New Zealand in terms of hiking and stuff, there's very limited options for going to extreme altitudes and feeling altitude sickness.
Yeah. So. That'd be our height so far. So but not that many tourists goes on top of Mount Cook. So
Christina says, so which phone company do you recommend? I know that you have a few listed on NZ Pocket Guide. What is the top one?
So we are using Skinny Mobile. That's the one we find the easiest to use. I'm just going to change to... that was silly. I'm going to change to that. Boom. And so on the app right here, you are able to change really easily with your plans. So I'm just trying to find. So those are the different plans. So right now I'm paying $16 for every 28 days. But if I just want to change to something weekly, I will just click here to do weekly, and right there I'll be able to just get something for like just a week. And so it's the easiest thing. So you can actually just order, like, so you get yourself the SIM card, and then you top it up, and let's say you put like $40 or something like that, and then you get yourself 2 times those combos. Like after 7 days, you just renew it, and then you sort it, and you got access to all these inclusions right here, which I'm putting on screen. I'm happy to show that to you again for longer during the Patreon live session if you want. But yeah, that's the one I would recommend just because of the ease of use. That they would be literally
and affordability as
yeah,
well.
So it's relatively cheap, and then you go on the app and you just change your settings straight up, and once you know your money has expired, so let's say you put $40, once you spend the $40, well, that's it, you're gone, bye. And you don't have to actually cancel contract or anything like that. If you're traveling for a more extended period of time, you can get a 4 weeks plan and then a 1 week plan later if it's here for 5 weeks. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can work it out quite easily. And there are other handy things. I mean, both Laura and I were on Skinny, so you get free call on Skinny to Skinny. So that means like if you and Barry, which is Christina's husband, that's going to travel with her, hopefully, if she doesn't ditch him just yet. But yeah, so you can both get the same thing, so you can call each other as often as you need if you guys are splitting up or something like that. So I feel like it would be the easiest one to use. But yeah.
Yeah, it's the best one for definitely calling sort of within New Zealand and to Australia as well. But another, I'd say our top second one that's worth mentioning is if you are making a lot of phone calls back home to international numbers, then the Warehouse Mobile offers free international calls. So if that's something
selected countries.
So
make sure your countries. I think Canada is on the list, but 2 selected countries.
Yes. So that might be another option that you want to consider if that's important to you. But I mean, yeah. But it may be not quite as good for calling between New Zealand numbers.
All right, what is Adil saying?
Adil says, "Thank you for all your hard work, ? Well, you're very welcome. Naveen says, "Hi dears, is there any chance of borders opening, non-visa waiver countries, announcement on next week?"
Oh, and Clay's not here. Oh.
No.
Announcement next week. Obviously, I don't know. I do not have access to the schedule of our Prime Minister. It's pending. We're working on it together, But yeah, no. So I don't have access to our schedule. So I do not know if there is an announcement coming up next week. Hopefully, if there is something, it would be some good news. But yeah, we'll cover that if there is one. We stopped speculating a while ago. Right now, I think that the whole country is working toward making this visa waiver country border opening work, and kind of smoothing all the edges and everything like that. So yeah, I don't know if there is an announcement coming up next week. Just if there is, we will tell you. So far, the date is October 2022. But some other countries have made some announcements. The country of Niue has made an announcement when the borders are opening. The country of Samoa have made an announcement. The country of Tonga has made an announcement. So, countries around the South Pacific are starting to make some announcements, and they're all going to reopen around the end of the year. So that's pretty good.
Christina says, "We need 2 phones as we never agree."
That's true. Adil said that the question mark was a typo,
Yeah,
Laura.
I know.
You
I'm
cheeky
sorry.
bugger.
I knew it was a typo. I just felt like it was funny to say it. And Kiwi Lauren says, "So my audition was successful, and I will be doing a musical this summer. So fun. I hope next year that they pick a terrible show so that it makes my decision to come back to New Zealand easier."
Nice.
Major FOMO on both ends. I don't want to miss being in the musical, but I can't wait to get back to New Zealand.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's cool. So what's the musical that you auditioned for? I know you said it before, but I did forget this one. But I'm going to say hi, Reed, again, so that makes him look up a little bit. What is Naveen saying?
Says, "Thank you so much for your information. You're very welcome, Naveen."
We sometimes it's more important to actually be able to tell people if we don't know rather than actually just making things up. There is a lot of people making things up on the internet right now, which is kind of like, not that okay. Rock of Ages it was. Oh yeah.
Cool. I saw the film.
I saw the music of Rock of Ages in Toronto, Canada, weirdly enough. So yes, I did see it in Toronto, Canada. Yes. And I was like, why? They're not on the stage and they're in the middle of everywhere. This is nonsense. What is this going on? So yeah, all right, guys, we're gonna wrap that up. We have a whole hour to hang out with our Patreon right now. So thank you very much for watching this live session. We're gonna quickly wrap up with. Obviously, we need to wrap up with the question of the day, and this time Laura is gonna be singing.
Question of the day. Woo!
Woo!
Woo! Yeah, question.
Of the day.
What is the question?
I don't know. The question of the day. Yay! All right. This is so ridiculous. I love it. Okay, so what's the best pie? We finally conclude this whole nonsense of pies, and you guys have voted. The best pie is steak and cheese at 44%. Close second was butter chicken at 40%. Mince pie was 15%, and chicken and mushroom
was
0. You guys are so
Wow.
wrong. So wrong. Anyway, the best pie in New Zealand is Robin's fish pie. We all know that, but you voted for something else, and it's okay. You are entitled to your opinion.
All right, guys.
And, yeah.
So the crowds have spoken, and next time you are travelling around New Zealand and you're stopping by a bakery or a garage station and you see that there are pies for sale, which there always are, make sure you try steak and cheese. It's everyone's favourite.
And make sure you ask for Robin's fish pie as well. Just you know, to just start the buzz happening.
All right.
Kiwi Lorenz wraps it up with saying, have a great week. Thanks for all the NZ info as always. You're very welcome, Kiwi Lorenz. All right, guys, time to wrap it up. And for the Patreon, I'll be live in about 5 minutes. See you soon. Bye-bye.
See you next week, guys.